Hey, what's up guys? John here. Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo are just a couple of the shady politicians that are helping Bill Gates, who is now America's #1 farmland owner in the entire country, 250,000 acres this guy has in his portfolio. His goal is to change what we eat, how we eat, and when we can eat through lab-based processed junk that he's gonna really deliver to the masses. And how he's doing it is insane. I would have never thought this to be possible. But I've done a ton of research and looking into it. It's happening. It's happening. And Gavin Newsom, Andrew Cuomo, and a bunch of the others are going to see to it that this is our new normal. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what they're doing that we don't know about, as well as how big tech is going to step in. And they've already done it in a small scale, but contributing to hundreds of thousands of affordable units for housing. But they're going to slowly over the next year, 2 years, roll out and start buying all the real estate, because everyone's going to be out of work due to all these restrictions on business. So please hit that like button. If you're in California, participate in the Recall Gavin movement. You know, this is all I can think of that would really help get the word out, is just exposing the day-to-day corruption of Gavin Newsom so we can get more people that will participate in getting him out. I know it's not going to solve the world's problems, but it will definitely help California, and hopefully that will spread to New York and all the other places. And you know, it's my best shot here. So please hit that like button and let's begin. This is what Bill Gates' 268,000 acre portfolio looks like across America. 4,500 acres in California, 25,000 in Arizona, 16,000 in Washington, 9,200 in Idaho, 2,200 in Colorado, 20,000 in Nebraska, 17,940 in Illinois. You get the idea. 48,000 acres in Arkansas, almost 70,000 acres in Louisiana, 15,000 in Florida. TheBeat.com wrote an article about Bill Gates and being a major investor in Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. They wrote, as we move forward to the future of plant-based innovations, the businessman who changed the world with technology, Bill Gates has invested in both major vegan meat companies, Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. What can we learn from this forward-leaning stance on all things environmental? So how are they going to fulfill their obligation here, or their real mission of ending the meat industry in 15 years? That's what the CEO of Impossible Foods said. That is partnered up with Bill Gates. Well, first, they're going to start out and acquire as much of their competitors' land as possible. Then they're going to put themselves in a position to determine legally what we can and can't eat. And then after that, they're going to put in restrictions, regulations on their competition. And that is exactly what they're doing. It's insane. This is what's happening right now. And these politicians that are supposed to be here to help us and stand up for us, well, they're very inexpensive. A couple small checks will make them go away, and they'll be the driver for Bill Gates and his main missions here. The Gates' influence on the UN Food Summit is astounding. Agra Watch analyzed the signatories and found that out of 12 total signers, 11 had past or current connections to the Gates Foundations. In some instances, the organizations were directly funded by the Gates Foundation, and in others, the Gates Foundation funded specific programs in which the signers had played roles. One organization was funded by Agra, which is funded by the Gates Foundation. See Figure 1. These findings illustrate the influence of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on global food and agricultural policy. AgriWatch has continually documented the role of BMGF in influencing agricultural development, which has grown immensely in recent years. The Gates Foundation seeks to exercise influence, and not only through its funding or projects and shaping the expertise, but also in funding the governance platforms that determines food and agricultural policy. So they're funding how the policies will take place on our food. Once his policies are then in place, this is how he intends to really clamp down on his competition. According to landreport.com, Gates AG1, which is a shell company that he owns, which has established its headquarters in the greater St. Louis area, according to St. Louis Business Journal, Gates AG1 will focus on research that helps smallholder farms adapt to climate change and make food production in low and middle-income countries more productive, resilient, and sustainable. Productive does not mean profitable. This is going to be a way to where he controls what they can and can't produce, and if they can at all produce. But this is going to essentially put him in that position to where he's going to bankrupt many farms around the world and he's going to roll out there and start accumulating land. He's going to be the biggest landowner in the world, I believe. And then Bill Gates invests in a startup with plans to save farming with AI. Ultimately, what happens here is he gets seeds from farmers from throughout the world. He genetically modifies them with artificial intelligence and then reproduces those seeds and owns those seeds, patented, owned by Bill Gates. So he wipes out all of his competition. Then he owns the food supply, owns the land, owns the rules, and he essentially controls everything that we eat. This is the direction that we're going. It's mind-blowing that this is not in front of all of us and not on the TV. They're not talking about any of this, but I feel like this is the most important thing happening right now. But it gets even crazier. What we're gonna see over the next 2 to 5 years is gonna be the biggest transfer of wealth we've ever seen. This is gonna be like John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie and the real titans of industry just dominating and bankrupting nearly everybody. So we have Facebook on one hand investing $1 billion for 20,000 affordable units. And this is in great thanks to Gavin Newsom. They went back and forth thanking one another, and I personally think there's probably a backroom deal there. Something had to have happened there for them to get 20,000 affordable units. This was definitely not from the kind heart of Mark Zuckerberg, considering that he has 45,000 employees and wants to take half of his workforce out of state, out of the country, to have a more diverse culture, aka save money on salaries and cut back on expensive A-plus locations like Silicon Valley and Manhattan, and cut back on all those lease space and high taxes. He can evade a lot of that going overseas. So there's something probably happened here. Then in addition to that, you have Amazon putting $2 billion into loans. He's not just giving away the money, $2 billion. It makes it sound like that on the Amazon website, with a $2 billion housing equity fund to preserve and create 20,000 affordable units. No, read at the top here on curb.com, low-cost loans from Amazon. Amazon announced last week that it will pledge more than $2 billion towards the creation and preservation of affordable housing in 3 areas where it has large offices. Seattle, Nashville, and Northern Virginia becomes the latest tech company to commit resources in reducing housing costs, joining Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Apple. So he's not paying any taxes. Amazon does not pay any taxes, believe it or not. So they're going to take money and lend it out. They're going to get a return on their investment, and then likely they're probably going to incorporate that into the salaries with their employees. So it's a real genius way. So when you have Joe Biden, you have all these people talking about increase the taxes on the rich and really tax the rich. What's going to happen is they're going to find creative ways not to pay tax. They're going to take advantage of the middle income and the lower income levels that are losing their properties and accumulate all the land. This is just absolutely insane what's happening right now. One of the biggest problems I see right now is these stimulus bills. They keep printing these multi-trillion-dollar bills as if they're nothing. $1.9 trillion what Joe Biden wants to print to give every American $1,400. I agree. Americans need money. People need money to survive. Bills are due at the first of every month. And this is going to be an issue, especially if they're not able to go back to work. But when you print $1.9 trillion and you divide it between 330 million Americans, everyone should be getting $5,700 each, not $1,400. So where does all the other money go? Well, if we look at the last package, a lot of it went overseas. A lot of it went to other countries. The Smithsonian got $1 billion. Everyone got money except Americans. They only got $600 each. Now this bill, this is going to be a real problem because ultimately all this money will come back and be due. It's a loan. This isn't free. Economies only work if people work. So what ultimately happens is the retirees, people living on 401ks, on Social Security, on retirement plans, these people are going to be greatly impacted because in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, the cost of goods and services and products are going to go up with inflation. Our currency is going to be devalued. And that's going to be a really big problem, especially as we step into a technocratic world where everything is done online. And the backbone of this country used to be service industry jobs, face-to-face jobs. Well, those jobs are going to basically be gone. And as that happens, the technocratic companies like Google and Amazon and Facebook and all these big companies are going to run out there and try to essentially not just seize all of our land, but try to streamline many of these big industries, make them simple and make them profitable, and basically blow everybody out of business. But printing money like what we're doing right now is a huge mistake, a massive mistake, and we're all going to realize that in the very near future. Even a popular hedge fund manager just came out and said that Joe Biden's plan could likely pop the stock market bubble. And what's associated with the stock market bubble? Well, people's retirement plans. So as this happens, you're going to start seeing a lot of people lose pretty much everything. So we're stepping into just a crazy time to be alive. But none of this stuff would have ever passed. None of it. If it wasn't for these cheap politicians that sold us all out. You know, Gavin Newsom, I think, is really the enemy of the people. Especially, you know, you look at these other ones too, like Como, all these other ones. They all sold us out. And you look at Como, he just approved Bill Gates reimagining education in New York. So he's reimagining the way that kids think and see the world. And he's starting at a very young age. So crazy stuff ahead. Great times to be alive. I personally think that this is the best opportunity for all of us, is to really think about how we can create long-term value and capitalize on this changing world. You know, Warren Buffett's business partner, Charlie Munger, had a really great quote, and it said, the difference between smart people and everybody else is smart people see things for how they really are, and other people see things for how they want them to be. So this is how things are. I lay it on you to make the smart decisions to really capitalize on what's happening right now. But please help me recall Gavin Newsom. All you have to do is simply hit that like button. If you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share the content. And the more that they share it, the more people participate. And also, if you live in California, consider signing the petition. And consider subscribing as well for more honest information on what's happening in the world, real estate, business, and money. All right, guys, see you in the next video.